Player of all time, and he's Canadian too. Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show coming up. Oh, we're talking tennis today. Yes, indeed. Our guest was born in Belgrade, Serbia, which is now was Yugoslavia, now Serbia. Grew up in Toronto. 1,062 wins over a 28-year career. 91 career ATP titles with 11 different partners. He won 4 ATP Tour finals in 5 years. 12 Grand Slams. A former world number one doubles player. The top doubles player in history. Gold medalist at the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, a member of the Order of Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the program, Daniel Nestor. Daniel, great to have you here, my friend.
Thank you. Good to be there. Good to be on the show.
So tell me, we like to start right at the beginning. Why did your family decide to move from Yugoslavia to Canada?
My uncle had moved prior to our departure from Serbia, Yugoslavia at the time, and spread the good word. Obviously, probably a little bit more opportunity, although things weren't that bad in Yugoslavia at that time. But thankful for the move because obviously, things worked out and was able to play a sport that I loved and thrive.
Well, things worked out pretty darn well, and we're really glad that you made the move. Why did you take up tennis, and how did that come about?
I was a big sports fan as a kid. I liked watching a lot of sports on television, and tennis was pretty popular at the time. I was a big Jimmy Connors fan. He had these rivalries with John McEnroe and Bjorn Borg in the late '70s, so kind of took a liking to that. Would go hit my local schoolyard wall and pretend I was Connors playing in these big tournaments, and just one thing led to another. Joined a program, coach said that I had some talent, and then stuck with it, and eventually got better and just continued through the ranks.
Well, now you had some success as a singles player early on. Back in 1992, you had that amazing upset over Stefan Edberg at the Davis Cup in '92. You look here, you look like a baby here. Like I think you're 19 years old. Edberg was the number one player at the time. He rolled through the first set. It looked like he had things under control, but you came back and you beat him. Tell us about that match and that point of your life.
Yeah, I mean, I was starting to play in the pro ranks, and had a little bit of success leading up to that. I qualified for the Australian Open and played pretty well there. And I guess on our team we didn't really have a solid number two player, and our captain thought I was maybe a dangerous player. Obviously, one that the other team, Sweden, didn't know much about, and I was playing pretty well. I was playing really well in the week leading up to the matches, and then I got selected to play. And it's one of those things where courts were fast and the conditions were pretty fast, and it suited my game. Obviously, he was at the top of the ranks, but I had nothing to lose, and things just everything just fell into place that day. It was one of those moments in time where it's something that happens maybe once or twice in your career, and it happened early on for me.
Well, yeah, he's the number one player in the world, and here's a 19-year-old Canadian kid, and we're all thinking he's got. The future looks bright ahead, but he ended up focusing instead of singles on doubles. Why did you decide to make that switch?
Well, that was about 10 years later. So I did play about 10 years on tour, focusing more on singles, and I was just better at doubles. I think my skill set just, made more sense. Well, I just happened to have more success because of, being an aggressive player, playing well at the net, and having a good serve, and liking playing fast points, and always looking to come to the net, even when I was playing singles. So that translated well to doubles, and eventually on tour, I had to make the tough decision of switching and and just playing doubles, and a few Canadians had already succeeded in the doubles ranks and were having successful careers. And I was doing pretty well in singles, but my body was breaking down a little bit, and it just made sense at the time, and obviously it worked out pretty well.
Well, we saw a little bit of the doubles victory in 2000, and that's, I guess, when you were starting to really focus on doubles, and it worked out pretty well with the gold medal at Sydney. Tell us about that moment and what that was like for you.
Yeah, I mean, that was huge, obviously for many different reasons, but on a personal standpoint, I felt as though I wasn't really playing maybe my best in some of the biggest moments and some of the biggest stages in the Grand Slams doubles finals. So I was quite upset about that, and then I started focusing a little more on the sports psychology side of things, and that helped a lot. And then won the gold medal, and if you look at my best doubles results, they all came after that, and so it was kind of a catapult to my success as a doubles player on tour.
Well, you and Sebastian Leroux clicked, and you did on a number of occasions. Tell us about that combination.
Yeah, I mean, I was always known as a big server, really good net player, and he was probably the best returner, especially in doubles on tour. And so it was we were, we just gelled really well together. It was too bad that we didn't play more on tour. We played that year leading up to the Olympics and played a little bit after, but he actually retired shortly after that win, and so it was. We didn't really. I don't think we really got a chance to maximize our potential, but in the short time that we did play, we had some pretty good success, and yeah, I mean, it was fun playing with him. I thought everything clicked in Sydney. We had some tough losses in Grand Slams leading up to that event at the Olympics, and then everything just came together. We played really well from start to finish, and it was a really special moment.
You had some really successful tandems. The first one was with Mark Knowles, and that started back in 1994. You ended up winning 40 titles together instead of 3 Grand Slams. How did you end up with Mark? How did that combo come about?
Just by chance. Well, we knew each other. Obviously, we were similar age, so we knew each other on tour. And he was a very good player. He was doing pretty well in singles, kind of like me. And then, I think he had already won the Rogers Cup, whatever it was called back then, De Maurier, in the mid '90s, and Montreal. He won that with Jim Courier, so he was already an established doubles player. And he asked me to play, and funny enough, my dad had entered me in a tournament after the U.S. Open in 1993 in Bogota, which was surprising to me. And I don't remember asking him to enter me in that event. And Knowles came up to me during the U.S. Open and asked me to play doubles there. And I'm like, well, I'd love to play with you, but I'm not going to Bogota. And he said, yeah, you're on the list. So, okay, if I'm going, we should play. And so we ended up winning that tournament, and then started playing the next year and had pretty good success. We made the final of the Australian Open in I think it was 94, 95, something like that, right after we started playing, and then from there we just maintained a pretty good level, and didn't actually win a Grand Slam until 2002, but once we won that first one, we won a couple more, and then had a really good career together.
You had talked about your dad, entering you in the Bogota tournament. How much of a role did your parents play in your rise to the top in tennis?
I mean, they don't come from a tennis background, but they were obviously tough Eastern European parents that instilled some good values for me, and they always wanted me to be good at school, and to at least play some sports, and I always loved sports, so that wasn't difficult to motivate me with. There was times throughout my rise through the junior ranks that I probably didn't have the best attitude, so they had to deal with that. But they were definitely involved, and like all parents should be. But it was a good balance because they weren't on the court with me. It's not like my dad was coaching me or anything. So I think I had enough space there, where I could really enjoy the sport. But at the same time, my parents were obviously instrumental in decision making, and who's going to help me along the way and that kind of stuff, for sure.
And when your dad signs you up for Bogota, you go and you
Well,
meet
it was
Mark
probably
Knowles, and the rest is history, right?
well at that point in my career, I was probably still too reliant on my parents. I'm already on tour and starting to establish myself as a pretty good player, and probably should have taken that responsibility on myself. But it's one of those things in life where it turned out for the best, and so I'm thankful for that for sure.
Well, you and Mark won 15 ATP Masters 1000 titles. Uh, you were the first player in doubles history to win every Grand Slam, every Masters Series event. But after the you decided to switch partners, went from Mark Knowles to Nenad Zimonjic. Why did you make that switch?
Maybe we weren't doing as well. We played for a long time together. It's like any relationship, partnership. Things were getting a little bit stale, and thought probably made sense to try something different. And funny enough, when we made that decision, we won the French Open a couple months later, and so that made things a little bit challenging. But it worked out pretty well playing with Nenad. We had in a relatively short period of time, we had a lot of success. I think we might have even had a winning record against the top team, the Bryan brothers, and yeah, we were both Serbian background. He was obviously from there, and I was born there, so there was that combination. But it was right from the beginning we gelled pretty well, and we had a really good run together, and it was a little bit volatile at times because we didn't always see eye to eye, but just like any relationship partnership, like I said, you're gonna have those moments, and maybe more so with him than some of my other partners. But he's a great player, and it worked out well for sure.
So the fact that you might, there's the partnership gets a little volatile at times, but that doesn't necessarily mean not necessarily a bad thing. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, you go through that kind of stuff in those kind of situations. I mean, I'm sure in the workplace when things are intense and you're trying to get the most of each other, whatever it is that you do, whatever kind of team building, bonding relationship you have, wherever that would be, you're going to have moments where you don't see eye to eye, or maybe you're expecting more out of the other, and so you're going to have those moments, especially guys, they like to get heated, and then they learn from it and move on, and so there was those moments, but it worked out. I mean, we definitely had a good run, and it's different personalities for sure are gonna cause that friction to happen, and but I you see it a lot in whatever sport it is, that sometimes you bail maybe too early in something that's successful, and so I'm glad we did ride it out for a few years and had some good success.
Well, the success, there's no doubting that. 2008, you won Wimbledon. You won again the following year. Overall, you and Zimonjic had 27 titles, including three Grand Slams. Only 4 years together. You talked about a little bit of a volatility there. You talked about some of that. So, is that what precipitated the split? Because in 2012, you hooked up with Max Bernier, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, we weren't seeing eye to eye, and maybe the results weren't what we had become accustomed to, but it was still pretty good. But I was fortunate to play with Max. He was a top 20 singles player, and a great doubles player, and had two very good years with him. On probably should have played with him a little bit longer too. Always kind of regretted that split, but it was definitely a great run. And then the years after 2012, there was a lot of partner switching. I did end up playing with Zimonjic again in 2014 for the full year, but after that, I don't really think I played with another partner for a full year. And but there was still some good results here and there. But I think maybe didn't have as much consistency. Didn't win a Grand Slam after 2012. Maybe for that reason, switching partners probably too often. Plus, I got a little bit older
Well,
too. that didn't help.
Well, a little bit older, a little bit, but yeah, you know what? You had a lot of success as in your, I guess, advanced stage for tennis, no doubt about that. Um, you had all those wins, all those Grand Slam wins, all the ATP titles and everything else. 46 Davis Cup wins. Uh, what did that feel like? To win the Maple Leaf, to wear the Maple Leaf, you know, in those
Yeah,
events.
that was special for sure. I loved representing Canada. So many great memories. From that team atmosphere, and we would always get to wherever we're playing, whether we're playing in Canada or abroad, we would always get to that site about a week, maybe even more in advance, and really prepare well as a team. And I thought just from that, generally players would play some of their best tennis, and I definitely thrived in that environment. And then when we started to have a stronger team, with Milos coming on the scene, and Vasek, and I mean Dennis was and Felix were kind of at the end, but with Milos and Vasek, we made the semis in 2013, and we were always able to compete against the best countries from those years once they got on the team, which was made it a lot more fun, and that probably extended my career even a little bit longer because I really enjoyed those moments.
Well, and that has really just taken off even further. We're going to get into that in just a bit, but you passed Todd Woodbridge, became the winningest doubles player of all time. Then you reached the 1,000 win mark, and when you did that, that was unprecedented. And some of your teammates and former competitors had some very kind words. Vic, if we can find that.
1,000 wins is nothing short of great.
What a career. I mean, 1,000 matches is amazing.
He's one of the most talented players to ever play the game of doubles.
To get to 1,000 wins, it's something that very few guys will achieve in their careers.
It really is an inspiration to all of us. He wants to play, he wants to win, and it's great to see.
He's done a lot of great things. He's helped us as Canadian players. He's taken much time to help us and really guide us.
A legend of our sport, and also as an example to the rest of us, that if you stay professional, if you still enjoy it, if you love the game, you can try to do the same.
He'll be in the Hall of Fame soon. It's an incredible career. We congratulate him on all he's done for the sport of tennis and for doubles.
Right. What did that feel like to have that kind of praise?
Yeah, it was nice. Those are some of the guys that I competed with the biggest moments for many years, especially the Bryan brothers. We had so many memorable matches. I think we played 59 times against each other, so it was a lot of and usually at the end of tournaments, so a lot of big matches there, and some memorable moments. But you said I passed Todd Woodbridge. He won like 17. When you say Grand Slams, I won 8 doubles Grand Slams. He won 17, I think. So
okay. No,
I trade
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I don't know if he
Yeah,
won
yeah.
17, but I think the Bryans won 17, but he won quite a few.
Yeah,
He won 9
Woodbridge won-
Wimbledons.
Yes, Woodbridge won
9
more
Wimbledons.
titles, but you
Yeah.
Woodbridge won more Grand Slams, but you won more
One more
titles.
Yeah.
Yes,
but,
won more matches. Yes,
I would trade for all those Wimbledons, but still, I had a good run for sure, and I don't think I was the best doubles player of all time. Let's keep it safe at top 10 type thing, but definitely had a good career.
Well, at the time, if you want to, you go to just strictly wins, then you are. But if you want to go take in everything else, yeah, okay, I get.
You got to
But,
factor in a few things.
Well, okay, so let's talk about the effect that you've had on the Canadian game, because if you look at where the Canadian tennis is today, how much it's improved over the last while, and I would have to think that Daniel Nestor had something to do with that. Look at where Canadian tennis is today. You look at Bianca just before that, Jeannie, and then Leila Fernandez and Denis Shapovalov and Felix Auger-Aliassime, and and Milos had a really nice run there for a while, and so you look at all that and look where Canadian tennis is. Do you feel like you maybe played a role in that?
I mean, I would assume for sure a little bit. I mean, it's just like I said before, when I was younger, and I saw the success that some of the Canadians were having in doubles before me, guys like Grant Connell and Glenn Michabata, and even in singles. I mean, those guys motivated me, and maybe I did the same for some of the young guys. But there's so many factors. We did a good job of hiring some good international coaching. We really built up our facilities, and tennis. I think across the world just became a more popular sport. I think golf had a huge lead, maybe in the 90s, and then tennis started to get more popular. And I think just from that, people started playing more tennis at all levels. And if participation is higher, wherever that's going to be, obviously you're going to produce more players. And we were able to do that. And fortunately, we had some really good ones.
Well, what other factors would you say there are? Because you look at Canada, here's a country where you can't play tennis outdoors all year round like they can in a lot of countries. Certainly a very limited amount of tennis that we can play outdoors, and we have to get inside. And why is it that we've been able to, produce player after player after, especially recently, like all these kids who won Wimbledon juniors, and
well, I mean, it's a difficult question because it's not like we have like France or Spain or Germany or whatever, some of these top tennis nations where they have like a very deep cast of players. We're very top heavy, I would say. And if you look at maybe Milos breaking through, Vasek was his counterpart in juniors, and he was probably motivated by Milos's success, and he had a lot of success. Same thing with Dennis and Felix. On the women's side, maybe not as much. Jeannie, kind of came through on her own, and Bianca followed soon after that. But I don't think they were junior rivals or anything. But I think for sure there was some chance involved, some luck involved. But at the same time, Tennis Canada, the federation, did do a good job of building up promoting the sport better, building up the facilities better, hiring some good international minds that became an influence on some of our better juniors that maybe we didn't have in the past. And it's just one thing led to another. And for sure, when Milos broke through and, he had that run in Australia, and then, he followed that up with a win in San Jose, I believe, and did well in Memphis, and then, never looked back. And then all of a sudden tennis, was on TV more, even my matches, like, I was, if I was in a Grand Slam final or in a really big match, people would see it. But other than that, people, weren't really paying attention or following what I was doing, or, even if they weren't able to follow by watching the actual match. That changed maybe a little bit with streaming on the internet, but also when Milos did have that breakthrough, all of a sudden, we had a lot more tennis on television at earlier rounds in the biggest events. And so whatever we wanted to watch, whatever Canadian you want to watch, it was becoming available. And that probably inspired, more and more kids to play. And, the power of television and media is huge, as we know. And so I think that had a huge effect on the sport.
Is that like me saying that Daniel Nestor is undisputedly the greatest doubles player of all time? That's
a little biased.
It's a little biased.
I appreciate it, but as a Canadian, you say Steve Nash is the greatest basketball player of all time, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So look at all these young Canadians doing so great right now. We saw Bianca. What was that like, as a Canadian tennis player? What was it like when Bianca won that Grand Slam, won that U.S. Open title, really broke through? I mean, let's face it. You've been doing it in doubles play for a considerable amount of time, and I know the other tennis players see that. The other tennis players see what Daniel Nestor's accomplished, but most Canadians don't see it. But then we see Bianca breaking through in singles and beating Serena, twice, in the Rogers Cup final, and then again at the U.S. Open, and we see that. What was that like for you as a Canadian tennis player watching that unfold?
Well, for me, I think that was the greatest moment in Canadian tennis history for sure. Obviously being the first to win a Grand Slam in singles, and just the way it happened. She beat Serena, arguably the greatest female player of all time, at the U.S. Open final in her home country, with the crowd just, going bananas. It was
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
Raptors, NBA Finals type atmosphere out there, and she dealt with it, and just the way the match unfolded. I mean, she had a huge lead in the second set, and Serena fought her way back to 5-all, but Bianca held her nerves and finished it off. And the run she had. I mean, she won Indian Wells and she won the Rogers Cup, and then just so people really started to get on board, and it was exactly like the Raptors, winning the title that year. People, they win the first round, then they beat. I'm a Sixers fan, so that the
Yeah.
Kawhi
Yeah.
shot still stings a little bit, but so they win that series, and now everyone's watching, and so it's the same kind of thing. And then once they beat Milwaukee, then everyone like that follows sports or that pays attention to what's going on in the world is now paying attention to this, and that's what happened to Bianca, and it happened the same year. Did it happen the same year as the Raptors? I think it did.
19.
It's,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's two amazing things the same year. I think probably would have been even a bigger deal if the Raptors hadn't won that year. But yeah, so it was definitely the pinnacle of Canadian tennis history, I would say.
So Bianca hasn't struggled a little bit lately with injuries and everything else. Any doubt in your mind that she's going to be back?
I think she's already back. She's playing well, and I don't know. I know she was in the quarterfinals in Madrid. I don't know how she fared since, but I mean, I think unfortunately and fortunately, she's like Milos in a way. Like, they get injured, unfortunately too often, which is unlucky and sad, considering their potential. And I think Milos, obviously, he got to 3 or 4 in the world, and he probably could have been he should have been, stuck at that spot, or at least top 10 for many years. I think if he would have been a little more healthy, considering his game style, his potential. But at the same time, these two are pretty amazing at how well they play with playing so little events. Milos was able to do that so many times. He would come after taking months off and have a good performance, which is not normal. Usually, you have to work your way back. So I think their talent level is high, and especially Bianca. She beat top 10, the first 8 top 10 players she played against, something like that crazy record, and so obviously she's one of the best, and just a matter of staying healthy, and even if she does play half the amount of tournaments in the next 5-10 years as some of the other girls, she's still going to have a lot of success.
Leylah Fernandez, different style of player, but reached a Grand Slam final. Doesn't have Bianca's power game, but what do you see for her future?
Yeah, she's fun to watch. I mean, she's got a lot of flair when she plays, and the crowd really gets involved, and they're really attracted to that personality, and so she's very marketable, and she's just such a positive player, and someone that every time they're on the court, they look like they're having a good time, and they're going to fight till the end, and she's remarkable in what she was able to accomplish last year. And unfortunately, she played someone that was having a similar type run in the U.S. Open final. Otherwise, I think she would. I think any top player, I think, would have been so nervous to play against her. I think she would have beaten anyone probably in the world other than that girl that day. But yeah, I mean, it's just another example of we've been able to produce another one of these top players in a short time frame.
Yeah, but it seems like there's a different mindset out there. I mean, it seems like a few years ago. I mean, back in the day, when I doing a lot of coverage of tennis on TV, and I don't know, I just didn't feel like it was like when Canadians took the court in a big event like this. It just didn't seem to me, particularly in singles, that I don't know. It just didn't. I didn't have the confidence that they would be coming through and get the job done like I do today. Like I look at any of those 4 really, like Leylah,
Probably because you were
Bianca,
watching
Dennis.
singles back in the day.
When you
feel
were
like he
playing
didn't have any
Edinburgh,
confidence.
I remember when you were
Once in a
playing
while,
Edinburgh, and I
once in
tell
a
you
while,
what,
he's going to have a good win, but most of all, he's going to let us down. But no, I think it just feeds off each other. You know, once the ball starts rolling and people see that Milos and these type players, Bianca, Vasek, whatever, Dennis, Felix, once they see that these players are not that just there to put in a good performance, but they're there to win. Same thing I think with Canadian basketball, right? Once Steve Nash made his move and other Canadians feel like they can do that too, and now we have 20, 30 guys in the NBA and look at soccer, same kind of thing now. I mean, I think it's just gonna, continue to go in that direction of kids wanting to be a part of it, kids having higher expectations, from themselves too, and which is good, and wanting more and wanting to be at that level too. And I think that's just the way it works, and we need that initial breakthrough, which we had, and I think it's just going to be. The norm moving forward in different sports.
well, you nailed it, because Canadian athletes, I mean, we rock. Let's look at the women winning the Olympic gold medal in soccer.
Yeah.
Hockey, the men's soccer team qualifying for the World Cup, and Alphonso Davies is top three of the top players on the planet right now, and it just we're doing so well. And I want to transition that into you back to honoring Daniel. You're going to be honored really soon by the Ontario Sports Hall of Fame. It's a big month for you. You're inducted in May 25th, along with Brian Budd, Abby Hoffman, Brad Park, Tom Watt, Barbara Underhill, and Paul Martini, Adam Van Couverden. That's a pretty impressive list. How does it feel to be part of that lineup?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an honor. Feel grateful that I'm able to be a part of it, and get recognized for some of my accomplishments, and any of those things is very special, and so I feel I've never been one to enjoy the spotlight, so I don't like going up and talking about myself and all these things, but I'll keep it short and sweet that night. But it's special. I mean, I remember watching Brad Park as a kid. I was a Canadiens fan, and he was on the Bruins, and he was a great player. And just I went to the Olympics with Adam Van Couverden a couple times. I think he's going into politics now. And but yeah, I mean, these are amazing athletes in their respective sports, and they've achieved so many things. So it's an honor to be recognized alongside of them.
Well, I know it's kind of something you don't really like to do, is deliver those speeches, but we want to listen to one that you delivered in 2011 when you were honored with a star in the Canadian Walk of Fame. Let's listen to that induction
It's
speech.
definitely an overwhelming experience and a true honor and a privilege to be recognized together with some of Canada's most influential people. On the court, I'm used to sharing the spotlight, but I'm not really used to getting it all by myself as I have in the last couple of days. This is definitely a change of pace. People often ask me over the years, what does it take to be a great doubles player? It's an easy answer for me. It's having a good partner. And I've been fortunate to have four of the best during my career in Max Mirny, Nenad Zimonjic, Sebastian Leroux, and Mark Knowles. They've carried me to a lot of titles. I think I should have half a star, honestly, with their names on the other half. Obviously, want to thank my parents. They've been very instrumental. They've basically done everything for me but hit a tennis ball. My wife, who's sitting in the front row, she's taken over that role of doing pretty much everything for me. And I think the best thing that my parents did do was make the move to Canada in 1976. It was a tough transition for me at first. I didn't speak any English. I was crying on my first few days at school, and that's all I knew. But quickly I realized what a great place Canada was and the opportunity it was about to give me. I really want to thank my federation, Tennis Canada, for recognizing talent in me from a young age. And just in closing, really want to say, representing Canada has been an honor. There's some great places around the world, but this is the best place. This is the most complete country in the world. And I feel like if I've given a fraction back to Canada with my tennis, and my career will really be fulfilled. So I really appreciate everything tonight. Thank you very much.
Well, that's pretty awesome. And you talked a lot about how grateful you were to be Canadian. We got a pretty good country here, don't we?
Yeah, for sure. I was very happy that well, probably not those first few days of school, but ever since I realized what was going on, for sure, was very fortunate to live in Canada.
So you made reference to Natasha. The family's good, I presume. You and then Natasha and your daughters. And
Yeah, it's good. My wife probably wishes I was on tour, coaching or away more often. But it's been a bigger transition for her having been home all the time than me being home. But I really like being in one place. I enjoy the travel, but I enjoyed being at different places. I did not enjoy the travel. I was not a good flyer. The whole airport experience is getting more difficult, obviously, in the last couple of years. But it was already, I just didn't like that experience of leaving home one, but leaving family the other. But just actual being on a plane was not fun at all. So I like being in one spot and probably annoying my family quite a bit, but it's fun for me to be with them all the time.
so I know you're a Habs fan, but did you catch some of the Leafs game last night?
I'm not a sports fan like I used to be, but when the Habs had that run last year, I definitely got into it a little bit. But I've matured. I said I'll cheer for the Leafs in the playoffs when Montreal's not in. So I'm happy to see that. Hopefully, what's it been since 1967? Is that 55 years now? Is that where we're at?
Yeah. It's been a while.
Yes. Hopefully. I think if they get through the first round, I think it's one of those things. The confidence will be high, and they're going to start rolling. I don't know if they can win the whole thing. You know better than me, but they definitely have the talent for sure, right?
Well, when you say 1967, they're definitely due. And the 76ers, were you torn when the Sixers were playing the Raptors again? I mean, do you find yourself being a little bit torn because you saw what happened when the Raptors won it all? It's kind of fun to be part of
I'm
that.
not torn. I'm not torn. Obviously happy for the city when the Raptors won it, but so many friends. You know what it's like when they start rubbing it in when Kawhi hits that shot, and it would have been. I think it would have been fine if they acknowledged that there was a little bit of luck on that shot. But when they just say that obviously he's a great player. Just you got to be good to be lucky. But if he hits the rim 4 times, there's definitely some luck involved. But so it was nice to see the Sixers avenge that. But I mean, I don't know how much chance. I mean, Embiid's out, and I don't know if they beat Miami anyway. But we'll see.
Yeah, in order to beat Miami, they need a healthy Embiid. And if you look at how far they've gone, that's pretty good. What turned you on to the 76ers? What was it?
This all happened when I was watching Brad Park on the Bruins. So I'm just bringing that up. But I started watching all these sports. Connors. This is like late 70s. So Habs were on top. Sixers were very good. I'm a big Steelers fan. They were the best team at that time. I don't know, for whatever reason. When did the Jays become a team? Was that in the late 70s?
77.
Mid 70s. 77. Okay, so I don't know. I think the Expos were good. I remember that series when they played the Dodgers in the
81.
What's it called, the NLCS, and I came home and Rick Monday hit that home run, and I think they loaded the bases in the bottom of the ninth, and then they couldn't score, and so I was this Expos fan, but then they lost their team, so now I'm a Jays fan. But I don't know, the loyalty. I stick with my teams.
Attaboy. And you stuck with your country. We're happy for that, man. You played a long time and accomplished a lot. You did a lot for charity. The Daniel Nestor Celebrity Charity Fund's done a lot. Tennis Canada Go for Gold, Double Up for Mental Health. Any particular charity that stands out for you and that you feel strongly about?
Yeah, I mean, all those are special. I think, obviously helping some of the kids that needed a little more support in tennis was important. But just generally, kids that are the one that hits some the most is probably just giving all kids a chance, kind of in more neglected areas or the lower income households, giving them an opportunity to get into a sport, maybe like tennis, that they wouldn't have had that opportunity. So something along those lines. Underprivileged children probably hits home the most, but doing any kind of charity work is obviously important, and giving back is integral for everyone in society to make it function properly, I think.
Well done, Daniel Nestor, the greatest doubles player of all time, in my opinion. And enjoy your induction into the Ontario Sports Hall of Fame. And thank you for being on the program.
Okay, thanks for having me.
All right, more sports when we come back.
More Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show coming up after the break. Guests on Joe Tilley Sports receive a gift certificate from Classica Imports. Top of the line imported men's clothing. Check out the Classica Essential Collection now. Go to shopclassica.com.
Hey, this is Tommy Graisley, aka Tommy Gunn. I love two things, music and sports. And when I want sports, I go to the Joe Tilley Show. He gives me everything I want. It's a great show. Check it out for yourself. Joe Tilley Sports, coming up.
Good night. Addiction Rehab Toronto, Toronto's #1 alcohol and drug treatment center, saving lives, reuniting families. The only treatment center in the province to offer medical detox, treatment, sober living, and lifetime aftercare all in one place. Our unique and specialized programs are designed to equip our clients with the tools to successfully lead a life of dignity, respect, and purpose. Let us help save your life or your loved one's life. Call today for more information or to facilitate an intervention. 1-855-787-2424 or visit addictionrehabtoronto.ca. Joe Tilley Sports is brought to you by COSA, Central Ontario Standardbred Association, providing a united voice for harness horse people racing at Ontario tracks. Check out your benefits today at COSAonline.com and check out COSA TV on Facebook and YouTube for all the latest harness news and live action updates. Live racing year-round. Go to hpibet.com for all your wagering options. Become a member today, and your first bet is free. That's hpibet.com. Slow play. It's a slippery slope. First you go looking for that lost ball, and then everything goes sideways. There are a lot of golfers on the course. Make certain of your point of entry, look quickly, and move on. Remember, we're here for a good time, not a long time. Find anything, Bob?
Not yet.
Visit moregolf.ca today. You'll find everything a golfer could need, from balls, gloves, and clubs to custom fitting opportunities and training gear. Go to moregolf.ca and get $20 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Just enter the promo code JT Sports.
Yes, not my COSA Swiss pick of the week. Last week, I went to Mohawk for Monday night's 9th race of Preferred Trot. I thought Dream Nation would be right there, but he got boxed in, pulled out late, but just wasn't quite able to close. It was a 3-horse photo for second, and Dream Nation was 4th. Oni Hall, the favorite, with Trevor Henry in the buggy, trained by Bob McIntosh, won the race, his 5th in a row. This week, I'm going back to Mohawk for Thursday night's 4th race, a pace, Mr. Beast. Driven by Jody Jameson is my choice. He showed some late speed last time out. Let's go. $5 win place and a $1 exact box 269. And what the heck? Let's do a trifecta box as well, 269. For all the racing updates, visit Costa TV on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and go to hpibet.com for your wagering options.
This is the Excellent Sports Adventure, brought to you by Lycom.
Well, that was a lot better than last year's playoff opener, wasn't it? Yes, they didn't suffer a devastating injury. The big ends showed up to play. The big gunners showed up to play in a big way. Austin Matthews with a pair of goals. Mitch Marner with a goal and a pair of helpers. Andre Kasha returned to the lineup and picked up a pair of assists. And Jack Campbell was perfect. His second career playoff shutout as Elise manhandled the two-time defending champs from Tampa 5-0. Couldn't ask for more from these guys.
We had a lot of guys that were really good today. Our team played really well. Our crowd was unbelievable tonight. I thought the crowd was the first star of the game, despite we had a lot of guys that were good. And I thought that they carried us through that kill. You know, the players play hard. They got life, and we got some chances. And just the way that our crowd responded and then really didn't let up for the rest of the game from there. You know, I was asked questions down the stretch of the regular season how important home ice was. And I felt that it would be important. I didn't feel it would be that important. It's my first game coaching the Leafs with a full building here. And I certainly felt it, but even talking to some others that have been in the building and have been through this, our crowd is you can feel the love for this team and the excitement for this team. And I thought they were outstanding tonight, and our team just didn't look back.
It was outstanding indeed. Some of the greatest names in hockey history were at the Hockey Hall of Fame on Monday night for the Legends of Hockey playoff draft, and I'm really liking the selections by Team Jones.
Okay, so Legends of Hockey draft here at the Great Hall at the Hockey Hall of Fame. Look at that, right behind me. We've got Frank Mahovlich, the Big M, right there, ladies and gentlemen. Lanny McDonald, his team had first pick. Lanny's team picked Connor McDavid. How did that feel picking an Oiler, Lanny?
Hey, I was outvoted 7-1. I could not believe it. Yeah.
He was Johnny Gooder all the way. You know that. You know that. Yvonne Cournoyer, you won 12 Stanley Cups. Why did you decide to pick Jonathan Huberdeau with your pick?
Who is he?
Huh?
Who is he?
All right, T-Ball went with Jonathan Huberdeau. Hey? I guess because the Habs were out of it, you had to pick a French guy? Is that what it was?
I always go with the number one guy.
Yes. Yeah, there you go. Number one team, number one guy. Good call.
The third round, Team Jones. It's Morgan Riley, Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, baby. Wow, that was a good night, wasn't it? Well, are you getting excited about what the Blue Jays might be accomplishing with the first full healthy season with George Springer in the lineup? Well, the Jays' big free agent signing from 2021 had quite the afternoon against the Astros, his former club. Springer led out the bottom of the first by bopping his 46th career leadoff homer. That ties him for 6th all-time. He added another dinger on the day. Last year, the three-time All-Star had a .907 OPS, 22 home runs in just 78 games. In his first month of 22, 6 big bops and a .968 OPS. He made that spectacular catch in the series finale with Houston. This guy's got game.
In the game, we were talking about DHing after Zimmer made that play in center. So he goes, I guess I'm the DH. And I said, man, we just want to keep you healthy. And then he had a great game like that, which I'm glad that he doesn't mind DHing. Because some guys, it's tough for some guys because it's not easy to do because, you know, guys are used to playing every day and he's comfortable doing it, so it's great. Like anything that George does doesn't surprise me. It's big and it's tough to manage against something like that because, you know, you're always thinking about the third time around and all that stuff, and third time around they're getting George Springer again, so, you know, of course that makes us a lot better.
Well, it's playoff time for the Toronto Rock, and it looks like they're ready to roll. The Rock were in Buffalo to face the league-leading Bandits, and that Rock bench couldn't have been the happiest of places when the Banditos jumped out to a 5-1 lead at the half, but the Rock roared back in a big way. Captain Shaylin Rogers scored 3 times. Sharpshooter Tom Schreiber added a pair. The Rock scored 5 times over the final 7 minutes to win it 10-7. Nick Rose was rock solid between the pipes as they finished a solid second overall at 13-5. Friday night, their playoff run starts with the Halifax Thunderbirds dropping by First Ontario Centre. A big pro boxing show coming up May 7th at Red Owl Performance Centre in Brampton. Zolt Duranier faces Flavio Michel for the vacant Canadian welterweight title. Scarborough's Justin Gandoza puts his perfect 14-0 record on the line. Body Hunter, Mathusin Mahindas, also undefeated, also fight on the card. The show will air live on Buzz TV. Toronto FC fell to 3-2-4 with a 2-1 loss to Cincinnati. Now here's our goal shot of the week.
God damn it.
4! Welcome to number 6 at El Tigre. Will he make it over today? More will be revealed. Is he happy?
That's it!
That's it. Oh! Get in the hole! Is it good?
God damn it.
4!
Today's environmental tip: reduce the electricity you use. Use energy-efficient light bulbs instead of regular light bulbs. They last longer, which will save you money. Make sure that you turn off the lights, the TV, and other appliances when you're not using them. And lower your air conditioning or heat settings when it's not necessary. Open your windows when fall arrives and wear more layers of clothing rather than cranking up the heat. Rycom, passionate people who turn complicated business problems into simplified technology solutions for public and private sector real estate, properties, portfolios, and enterprise customers. Optimize and future-proof smart buildings from the ground up. The latest in fault locating, base building network design, managed services, cybersecurity, data analytics. Our fault detection will support all smart strategies, define projected outcomes for capital planning, and reduce environmental impact. Rycom, smart protection solutions. At Rycom, we're building a path to a smart and environmentally friendly future.
That was a pretty good goal shot. We want to thank all the folks who make the show possible. These are friends, trusted business associates, and all-around great people. We highly recommend them all. A reminder, the show is available on iTunes, Spotify, Breaker, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, and Pocket Casts, as well as the Spanglish Network and Zingo TV. Also, please like and subscribe to the show on YouTube. It's free. All of our past great shows and clips are on there. I want to thank Daniel Nestor once again for being on the program. Thank you for watching. Join us next week when former Oilers great Dr. Randy Gregg drops by. We'll see you then.
Joe Tilley's Great Canadian Sports Show is brought to you by Brian Gribben Insurance Planning, helping you solidify your financial future.
At BGIP, what we do that's unique in the marketplace is we show people how to spend and enjoy their money in their early years of retirement without the fear of running out. Also, we're able to do this without you having to change financial advisors. Please look us up at bgip.ca today. Let's book a 30-minute phone call to see how we can bring value to you and your family in your planning.
Call Brian today for all your retirement needs. We did. 905-686-5678. Do you want to buy or sell a home? Could 31 years of real estate experience help you? Why not speak to an amazing team that loves to overpromise and overdeliver? Aldo has a tremendous team of experts on staff. They are committed to making your next real estate transaction smooth and comfortable. Call 416-GET-ALDO or visit getaldo.com. MNP, a leading Canadian national accounting, tax, and business accounting firm. MNP proudly serves and responds to the need of their clients in the private, public, and nonprofit sectors. Through partner-led engagements, MNP provides a collaborative, cost-effective approach to do business and personal strategies to help people and organizations to succeed across the country and around the world. with local offices in Oshawa, Mississauga, Burlington, and more. Their team is here to support you. Visit mnp.ca today to learn more.